and not hosting, I don't know, horrible things on there, I'm willing to take the risk and also look at the policies of the host in the States to make sure that they're at least caring a little bit about this. I can tell you that DreamHost clears out their FTP directories that you host, of sort of random ones that aren't attended for a while. They just have files on them fairly regularly. So I think they're always sort of flushing stuff out so that there's not just a chance for gross stuff to accidentally accumulate somewhere. Keeps them off the radar.
What is it?
So file transfer protocol. If you're on a Windows machine, you would use something like FTP Explorer, or there's a Firefox extension. It's a way of accessing, an alternate way of accessing your site, different from a web browser. And what you would see is a series of folders and things, just like on your computer, and you can copy and paste data or move data back and forth between that. So, back to this Patriot Act, all this kind of thing. You want something to think about. What's PRISM and all this? How's this all thing? Well, this actually throws us all to a loop for all of us right now, is that a secret presentation was linked from the NSA and a bunch of organizations that basically said that everyone we use online, Google and everyone we basically trust and use online, is freely sharing data with the U.S. government any old time. So realistically, we're kind of hosed no matter what, because we all use these services, and privacy is kind of a sham online in a lot of ways. So,
It's between privacy and surveillance.
Agreed.
Somebody has to care.
Someone has to care.
About you or something with you.
Which is why I'm a big advocate for owning your identity online. I put up everything that I put online, I put up. I'm in complete control of the stuff that I put up online. I own my domain. I tell people exactly what it is. Even if there's other stuff scraping data and putting other stuff about me online or things that they've learned, my data will come up first because I'm actively policing it and owning it. I have henryfaber.com. It tells you what's on there. It's not particularly up to date, but it does tell you everything you need to know and link to my projects that matter to me. Okay? I also own my Twitter account. I use my name, but it's fairly safe for me to use my name for everything. I'm privileged enough to be able to be in a safe position to use my name most of the time, right? Not everyone is so lucky, or has that same privilege, and I do acknowledge that. So while I acknowledge using your name as a domain name and all that like that can be risky, what I will tell you to do when you're registering things, and I will show you how this looks like in a minute, is to use privacy guards that don't publish your address and phone number. I will show you what that looks like in a second, actually. So that's why you want to think about Canada, maybe. But like I said, depending on the services that you use, surveillance is happening regardless.
Probably a lot of stuff in Canada was routed to the United States.
It is, that's what I'm saying. Everything is routed through everywhere. If you want to be connected to the internet and talk to people in Germany or talk to people in India or whatever, you're going through everything. So the telcos, they own huge pipelines that are under the ocean and all this kind of thing. A lot of them are American owned. So it's going through their hubs. One of the biggest hubs in North America is actually out of Vancouver in the Harbor Center Tower. It's a huge trunk line that is connecting a third of North America. It's all owned by Americans. Sorry, guys. Shall I continue? Okay. So, here's what a plan looks like from a typical provider when you're going and looking at this stuff. We've got economy, deluxe, and ultimate here. Oh, that's cool. $1.99 a month. 100 gigabytes of space. Unlimited bandwidth. 100 email accounts. Could you imagine? What would you do with 100 email accounts? 10 MySQL databases, 1 gigabyte each. Oh, woo. I can't even, I don't know what I do with all that. Select a term, 12 months, $1.99. Great. Oh, look at this, free $50 Facebook ad credits. Nice. Anyway, deluxe, $4.99 a month. Unlimited space. unlimited websites and bandwidth, 500 email accounts, 25 MySQL databases, etc., etc. Yeah, we're not talking about a lot of money here, but if you are comparing this to the Canadian prices, triple, essentially. And, well, not always. You'll find cheaper ones in Canada, but I'm going to be honest, they just aren't as good. Stay away from like Host Nation, and there's a lot of Canadian ones that just aren't good. I'm just going to be honest. There are premium ones like that do co-location, give you private access and servers and things like that do amazing stuff, but they cost $500 a month, And I don't even think it's worth like pooling your resources personally with like a bunch of community members and friends to like even do that. I don't think it's worth it. So, but the important part is to look at those things. All these other things, free premium DNS malware scanner, SSL certificate, fixed IP addresses. These are all really useful things if you're building an application. And I'm not saying you're not and you never will, but we're talking about portfolio sites here. We're not talking about building a web application right now. So all that other stuff is probably not necessary for you. Anyone have any questions about that so far? We'll look at some real live examples in a second. Few other considerations. So we talked about, in addition to DNS population stuff and all this, sometimes applying for an account from one of these services can take between 24 and 48 hours. So on top of setting up and pointing your DNS to your host, just setting up your hosting account as they carve your little slice of the cloud for you and prepare it for you, that can take some time. Don't fall for upsell traps. So like they're going to say, but if you spend another $20 a month, we can give you all this. We can give you 600 email addresses. Like, I know it may sound tempting to have 600 email addresses, but I'm going to suggest that you probably don't. Even if you're collaborating with friends, you're probably going to be using Gmail anyway. But even if you're not, I'm sure the 10 or whatever that are in the first pack will be just fine. Beware of fraud. So fraud is basically, who is familiar with the SSL certificates and seeing a little key or green bar in their browser? You've seen that? Has anyone else seen that? Has anyone noticed when they're browsing it, it says HTTPS versus HTTP? When you see the S, that stands for secure. Sort of. Okay. So what the HTTPS basically means is that a trusted authority has said the data going to and from the site, you and me and the site, is going to be encrypted. So even if it's intercepted along the way, or even once it's hit the database, it is encrypted to bank level security, 128-bit or something like that, security that says that no one's ever going to be able to get your credit card number or anything like that. So when you're paying for this stuff and you're buying anything online, you're going to be wanting to look for things like this. It's not always that easy though, but it's a step. So look for it. Certain third parties do things in the background that are still secure anyway, but don't show it on the main site. But try to go that extra mile to see if it has that little key or that little green bar or that sort of thing. And now the important thing that Jenny brought up earlier, which is keep all of your information handy. So what do we mean by that? That means when you register a domain, you're going to be using an email address. Because you probably don't have that domain yet and a host, you can't say that you're me@henryfaber.com because henryfaber.com doesn't exist yet. So what are you going to use? Another email address that you think you're going to use and have forever. Funny thing about that is that our first reaction, and I do this too, is I'm going to use my Gmail account. Except for we don't actually own our Gmail accounts now, do we? Not really. We have complete access to our Gmail account, but we don't own them. Google owns our Gmail accounts. The truth of the matter is, unless you've got one provided by an email address that's reliable, that's been being provided by a school institution or a community group or something like that, chances are this is like the best you're going to be able to do is use a Gmail account or a Hotmail. Don't use Hotmail, but a Gmail or a Yahoo or something like that. Okay, I guess what I'm saying is that it should be something that you know you're going to have access to. I use my Gmail one still because I feel like Google's already taken everything they can from me. So like that's all there is to it. Okay. But the reality is that if you need to make a change, or they need to notify that you, or something ICANN related happens, or something Patriot Act related, or something like that happens, they're going to send out a notification. And if your DNS is stopped, and you're not getting emails at henryfaber.com or whatever your name is .com, then you won't be notified. So you're going to have to think about what that might be. And for most of us, it's going to be Gmail or something like that. This is important if you ever want to sell your domain or transfer it to another host or something like that, or in the event that you do lose some sort of access to your registrar account, you're going to need to know this information. Reclaiming and proving that you own a domain when you don't have the proper email address is one of the worst experiences that you can go through. And I mean that from relative to a technical experience. It's really, really it's really bad. Like you have to get notarized documents of your face, and you gotta put thumbprints in. They gotta send it and fax it and email. I mean, it's really elaborate. Particularly if there's other things associated with it, like SSL certificates and things like that. The amount of work that goes into it, it's just bad. It's bad. Do not forget your email address. And I'm going to go one step further. Do not forget the password that you used to log into your registrar to modify your domain name. I usually take this opportunity to sell a piece of software that I didn't make and that I have no stake in, and I'm going to. It's called 1Password. It's by a Canadian company, Windows and Mac, iPhone, Android device. This is like the single greatest thing ever. So what you do is, I've got it up here installed here. You use 1Password to unlock it on your computer, okay? And then I can show you, these are all the passwords and usernames I have for every account I've ever visited, ever. Ever.
Oh my God.
Ever.
Oh.
Okay. And they're all different. Because I'm sure no one here, I'm positive no one here would dare use the same password for multiple services, especially ones connected to their bank account or anything, right? I'm sure everyone here uses unique passwords for everything they do online, right? Good, because I know some silly people that don't do that, and then, yeah. But anyway, we're all too smart for that. We all use different passwords. We most certainly don't write them on sticky notes and leave them by our computers at home, right? Or at work, because that would be... Because we trust everyone at work, right? I'm sure none of us have roommates with questionable tastes and partners that we leave Post-it notes around with our credit card information or passwords or anything like that, right? Because we're all too smart for that. So 1Password allows me to go to a service, and I'm going to show you something cool, okay? I'm going to go to... where am I going to go? I'm going to go somewhere really cool. I think. And all of a sudden, it totally... my registrar. Thanks, Jenny. I'm going to go to my registrar. Here is my registrar, and this is my registrar of choice, by the way. Namecheap, and I'll tell you why in a moment. That's part of it, but also political reasons. All right, so here I am looking at Namecheap here, and look, it says username and password. Well, because I use different passwords for everything, and I certainly don't use words and things like that. I use, complicated 8-string characters, but I'm not smart enough to remember all of those. I think I'll just go up to my 1Password here and find, Namecheap. Autofilled, eh? Logged in one step? Wow. That's pretty cool, right? How about this? If I'm making a new one for Namecheap for the very first time, okay, and actually I'm going to log out and show you that for a minute. I'm going to go in and I'm going to say I'd like to... No, that's not an easy one to do from the start.
Right below your...
Sign up, there it is. Okay, thank you. So here, I wish my username's going to be, Henry Miso. That's cool. But what password? 6-character password recommended. Passwords are case sensitive. I only can think of that one I used on that other site. How about I go here and say I'd like an 8 length here, that it's pronounceable? Sure. And it has digits in it too. Bam. I fill it and it automatically populates and it remembers it when I come back. Registered, signed up, remembered, just like that. And icing on the cake, the iPhone version syncs. So I have all my passwords with me. I can log in my bank really easily from the phone, all that kind of thing. And this is way better than sticky notes. Way better than sticky notes. I'm glad you asked. You know what? There's deals all the time. Like, in fact, there's a deal. They're releasing a new version soon, so I think they're like selling this now for I don't know what it is right now, but I think it's like half price or something like that. And then the upgrade will be another $10 or something when it comes out. Let's take a look though what they're selling it right now, or this is going to happen if it hasn't already. Store. I'll go to the store. Single user license is $69.99. Family though, 5 users, $100.
That's for the Mac and Windows.
Oh, that's the Mac and Windows bundle. Oh, I'm so sorry. $49. There you go. $49. It'll be on sale. Keep watching this site though. It'll be on, like, subscribe to their Twitter or something like that. It goes on sale like every few weeks. Like, it's completely worthwhile.
And why can't anybody hack into that over here?
So, very careful, very good. Well, because I'm sure, because we're all on laptops, we all keep our laptops password protected, right? We all do that and remember that password separately from that, so that when we leave the room, if we accidentally leave the room, or heaven forbid go to we're in the coffee shop and we step away for a moment and close the lid, I'm sure we all have passwords instantly coming up so that nobody can get at our data, right? Even if it is inconvenient to do it every time we open and close like that. So that's why I feel safer like this. There's we can talk about more practical concerns about, there's still ways, nothing is 100%, right? Like, to be honest though, and not to make light of your question, the truth is that nothing's 100%, but this is a lot easier. Like, the funny thing is that most hacking, and this is absolutely for serious, most hacking has nothing to do with technology. Most hacking has to do with people fishing through your garbage can, or like just observing over your shoulder or something like that. Because it's way easier. Why would I go and bother, if I see you with a credit card and I see you're at a coffee shop and you're buying stuff and you're doing stuff, all I have to do is just hang out around you long enough to see what you're doing, right? And you would not necessarily notice because you're focused on your computer. So like, the truth of the matter is that that's why the dots appear when you're typing passwords on screens, right? They're not doing it to confuse you. They're doing it because they know that someone could be around. Really, really clever individuals will watch your keyboard. Some use funny sprays and stuff to actually see where you press the most keys the most often. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. But all of this is all like really the easier way than to break bank security, right? That's possible. There's people trying this all the time, sitting there using, lots of computers, throwing raw crunching, data crunching power to see if they can break 128-bit. But like, they're not coming after you. They're going out to make a point and to actually get a security job so that they can make the next encryption. They're not. The people that are most likely coming after you are staring at you because they know it's you. So passwords on your laptops, and I also said, especially in desktops, if you don't live alone. Not to create trust issues between people, but if you're in a roommate situation or something like that, it really just makes sense to put a password on your desktop computer as well, in my opinion. But most of us are, using laptops, right? So probably a good idea to throw a password on there. I know it seems annoying when you open it up. I really do. I get it. I hate it. But that's just the world we live in right now. We're trading off the sort of the compromise is that we have this amazing portability and flexibility to work and do whatever we want anywhere. Why don't we just make sure we're just that much more protected? That's all. I hate to belabor this, but security really is something I think about quite a bit. because we are using all this stuff. I'm about to talk to you about art in a second. So, so I'm looking up Happy Puppy here, and you'll notice it tells you happypuppy.com is taken, .net is taken, .biz is taken, .org taken, but hey, .pw, I don't know what that is.
Happy Puppy Pop.
Oh, hey, that's not bad. $3.98 a year. Is a new. They're telling you this is an interesting thing. They're slowly releasing more of these extensions, and some of the ones to get traction they put on, very dramatically on sale.
They are slowly releasing.
Yeah. Who's they? There is a consortium of what do they call it? The well, it's ICANN, right? It's like a worldwide global, authority. Who is this authority? How do you do it? They've granted themselves authority because generally they've yeah. Well, it's because generally these are people that are in charge that have originally paid for servers and infrastructure at some point. So, but they've. They would have members of the boards of telecom companies would definitely be involved with this organization, but not a telco. As far as I know, cannot directly own. Like nobody can own this. It's like a not-for-profit organization, but it's.
So there's no government.
No, they're subject to the rules of where they operate, but the government can't come in and force. They can petition and lobby. For example, there was a move by like certain senators in the states to like make XXX happen, right? So that all we had a red light district, for example, on the internet. Everything would be that was of that nature would be .xx, right? X .xx X. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Flower. The point is you just go in there and you then select the ones you want. And the funny thing is, once you start buying domains, it's hard to stop. At least for me. Okay, so you find the one you want, you add it to your cart, and when I was saying don't fall for anything else, like hit the express checkout button. Like just, if you go to checkout, it's going to take you through 6 different screens of things you might want, like hosting, like email. It all sounds good, but again, why are they offering this? They might be a good hosting option, but remember my sort of pro tip: keep it separated if you can, right? So I'm going to go express checkout. Hopefully I'm not actually going to buy this. Here's my total. Yeah, and I can pay with my credit card or with PayPal, and away I go. And then that record is there. And by default, it's just sitting there. And if you go to that domain, it just says, hey, this is a Namecheap domain. And it's up to you at that point to point it to somewhere else or do something else with it.
Right, because if I go to January.com,
yeah,
this domain was recently registered at Namecheap.com.
That's right.
The domain owner may be currently creating a great site for this domain. Please check that later.
Yeah, because I never forwarded it to anything because it was... Yeah, but maybe this January, who knows. So, yeah. So any of these other sort of things. So this will just stay there parked like that. And yeah, actually, I'll just show everyone that in case you haven't seen that. Yep. This is a parked page. It doesn't, it's actually typically making money for the parker. In this case, I don't think they're blocking anything, or there's no ads on it. Namecheap's not scummy that way. But GoDaddy is. They plaster their parked domains with ads that make them money, not you. So if you don't do this, if you don't go and change it.
What is a premium domain?
Which, sorry?
Premium domain.
Probably a marketing term that we don't care about. I don't know, actually. Oh, that's one that's sitting. So domains are big business in terms of auctioning, right? So if something's cool like that, you can actually put an offer if it's something related to your business or branding. I had a client recently wanted to spend $25,000 on a domain just so that they would have it connected to their brand, right? And that may or may not be worth it, but likely not for you at this moment. Not that I would stop you from spending $20,000 to get a domain, but I say you might have other uses for that money. So here's the thing. If you're using a portfolio service, hosting is included most of the time. This is why I'm going to be talking to you very seriously about using a portfolio service or something that manages these things for you. It's either included because it's free, or it's included because you're paying a fee of like $5, $10 or something dollars a month, and you're getting this sort of hosting that takes care of all this. So it means you spend money on the domain name, And it's like, your $10 per year, and this is an annual fee, by the way. I should mention that. You can pay more years up front for a discount. Up to you. The benefit is if you're I should do that most of the time for some of my bigger domains that I use every year, but I don't always, so I rush and try to pay for them every year at the deadline. Anyway, don't let your domain lapse if you care about it. Okay, after 30-day redemption period, it is locked by the registrar for up to 6 months. And in that time, if you want it back, you have to pay a lot of money to get it back before they release it into the wild and someone else could get it. This can be a real bummer. This is why you need to have a real email address. When I give this talk to students, a lot of the times they're very used to using fake email addresses and things like this. So I always drill this into their heads. But we're all much more aware, and we don't use fake email addresses for things we sign up for, right? Okay, so hosting services. Yeah, I was saying, so for example, a hosting service will have something like, I'll just zoom in a little bit here, $8 a month for this one here, billed annually, or $10 from month to month, 20 pages, galleries and blogs, 500 gigabyte bandwidth, 2 gigabyte storage, and a custom domain free. No, I'll point you mine, thank you, and 24/7 support. And here's one for $16 a month. These are good deals if you don't need anything else. They do a lot of hand-holding for you. It's all taken care of. Listen, compared to when services like this didn't really exist this nicely 10 years ago. Now, they're really nice. We're going to go look at some of them in a minute here.
What's the site that?
This one, I believe, is Format, but actually I cropped the name out, so I don't remember which one, but I think it's Format. But we're going to look at a couple right now. Format, F-O-R-M-A-T, or For-O-R-M-A-T. This is an example of one. I happen to like this one. It's pretty simple. You can sign up for a free test. And why don't we all walk along and do that, just for the sake of doing that, all right? I just want to show you how easy these services are right now and why I'm trying to advocate for using something like this. If your primary concern is producing art and marketing and promoting it, do not waste time if you can avoid it, if you can use something that provides you this functionality, right? So I'm going to go and grab I like the look of this one here, order theme. And then I'm going to click next. And you can customize every color. Great, I'll do that later, thank you. Or are you going to make, fine, I'm going to make this light. Okay. And modify all your pages in the Pages editor. I would like a gallery page, thank you. And you're done. I know this is going to seem too good to be true, I know, but it's pretty great. So, I've got pages, I can affect the design, and I've got various settings, okay? So I'm going to look at the pages here, and I've got a gallery page here. I can preview what that looks like right now. Example portfolio. I mean, it's not this amazing, unique thing at the moment, but what I love about these sites is it gives you a chance to curate and present your work in a way first, and let the site sort of fall away behind it. And we set it was 3 clicks to get this start. And now literally we go in here and we start replacing images and adding more images. It's pretty great, and it costs, $5 a month or something.
If you get something like this as a template to begin with, is it possible, say on Format, to go into the code and modify it?
Some of them they are, some of them they aren't. I'll have to double check with you about whether Format is one of them. But some of them do let you go into this. So, for example, if I go into my gallery here, and it's going to tell you how to add images and all that sort of thing. Great. So this has advanced modifying. This one does allow you to do a little bit of modification. But again, ask yourself what you're modifying and why. There's very many times you can swap out, for example, header text for an image or something like that, so you have nice graphic text versus the texts and typefaces that they're using, and things like that. You might be able to implement something like a third-party service like Typekit or something like that to give yourself even nicer font choices and typeface choices without compromising search engine optimization. So there are different things. So let's take a look here, though. I know for a fact you can edit this one. New text element. Well, this lets you, I think, edit this one lets you go into the HTML on the Prone agency. You can go in there and you can edit HTML and embed HTML into that block.
And Prone agency, I suppose, are
Different pricing things, right? So if we go to upgrade now, let's take a look at our pricing here. So the free trial is a month, so you get a whole month here, it looks like. Pro is $12.99 per month. Basic is $7 a month. Agency is $25 per month. So let's look at we can look at the difference here. Domain mapping. So this allows you to put your custom domain from your registrar in here. So it doesn't have to go to format.com/portfolio/users/whatever. It can actually be directly to yours, right?
So somebody's doing a search of you, they get you.
Yeah, you get a subdomain option as well from format if you want. Easy drag and drop editing, fully customized dynamic themes, 50 pages, 1,000 pages, unlimited pages, 10,000 images versus 100 images, unlimited bandwidth on all of them. Customized bio and contact, social network integration, which I'm a fan of. Custom CSS editing on all three.
How does the security work since there are concerns about plagiarism? Like what if you put your work and somebody else took your work and said it was their work?
Yeah, so the internet. Funny place. People grab images and all these things, don't like to give attribution where it's due. There's watermarking options. There's meta watermarking, information watermarking. But everything, I'm going to tell you right now, everything you do can be circumvented. So that's all part of owning your identity kind of thing that I talk about. The more if you have a social media presence and you're talking about your work and you're publishing your work, you know what I mean? There's less of a chance. There might be someone that's going to grab it still, but more of a chance of it coming back to you as being the one who created it. If you just put it out in isolation, I guarantee you, you don't participate in any communities or do anything to promote your work or anything like that, no one's going to know. But then again, no one's likely going to find it either.
What does it mean here when it says subdomain?
So a format has its own thing. So you could be I could be henry.format.com as well as that. I have two options of accessing my page.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can be like the domain owner.
That's right. That's what the top one with the domain mapping means. So it's literally just going into a setting here. And see this connected domain here? You literally go over here and it tells you the instructions what to do here. And it's basically going to tell you to put in check off a couple of things and put it in your Namecheap registrar settings for that domain. And just like that, you're ready to go. 10 years ago, this stuff was so complicated, you would have had to hire someone to do this for $5,000.
So you still need to register a name.
The name is separate. So just like in my sort of pro tip idea, this is like a host and publishing platform in one, something like this, and your registrar is over here. So all your content, they're doing all that stuff that I was talking about, the database, the hosting, the bandwidth, they're doing all of that. They're giving you the tools to upload everything all in one go over here. Your registrar is still over here with your name domain that you host, giving you the most flexibility. So it might be worth, and this works to everything. Like if you think you're going to pay for this for the next couple of months, pay for it monthly. For example, if you like this and you do your demo test, and you do this and you like it, then do the free trial, maybe let it go for a couple more months and all that. But I think if you're going to commit, you pay for the year up front or get the year commitment. I think they still bill you monthly, but you've said that you will do it for a year. You get a break in the price. You get an extra month free or something. Essentially, it's worth it, right? That kind of thing, right? Yes.
What does social network integration mean? Is that the little icons or?
It might be icons. Let's review. Because even this looks different from the last time I used this like 2 months ago. Like this is how like they keep adding features like and things, right? So let's take a look here.
I see they're changing they call it themes.
The themes, yeah, they add themes too every month here. What is?
Is a theme a page to something?
That's right. Oh, there it is. What I think it actually does is, yeah, it lets you connect your likes to your Facebook profile, all this kind of stuff. There's widgets, there's codes that you can do yourself, and they probably just integrate it in for you and allow you to do that. Or like embed your Twitter feed or something like that. So that's format, and again, under the design side of things here. So yeah, let's take a look at some of these. And they're all kind of, oh, there we go, yeah, sorry. Look at this. So this is a new feature compared to the last look. They let you customize the appearance for mobile, tablet, and your computer, your desktop use, which is pretty amazing. So you can really go quite detailed to make the experience the way you want it. So I'm going to customize this here. Look, typography. What do I want for the menu? Logo font, size. There's no coding or CSS manipulation necessary. However, it looks like if you want to, you can.
Can you upload your own fonts?
So in this case, probably not. They have an extensive font library, it looks like. Looks like they might even been using... they have a lot of fonts here. So they're probably integrating with Typekit or something like that. Or Google Web Fonts or some service like that. So it looks like they've got quite a lot of options. Again, is it the same? You really look at the cost, benefit, time, and ability of look how easy this is versus hand coding or working with another designer to get that thing just right. Now, I'm not saying that thing just right. Again, I'm not trying to compromise what your personal style is or what you're trying to do. But the amount of features they've poured into this, they've thought about this. If you can't get what you want out of this...
Are there any others like it?
Oh yeah, we're going to go look at some other ones. Yeah, there's tons of templates in this, but I'm just trying to just give you a sense of like the kinds of things you can edit here. Let's look at another one. Let's look at Cargo Collective.
I don't know if this is overkill, but I'm just wondering, because it seems important to some people, and probably is if you want to be found out. So for querying, or querying, am I saying it?
Yeah.
If you use something that is entirely visual instead of code-based, then, I mean...
No, this is really good. So, the nice thing is, actually, why don't we go take a look at something here? I'll give you a little clue that you can actually judge yourself how good the code, to some degree, how good the code is being generated for you, how clean it is, right? Oh, look at this, edit code. Oh yeah, look at that. There's the user style sheet. It's actually not letting me. It's not letting me do it until I probably purchase. It looks like here. Let's show site assets. Yeah.
Plans. You don't get the custom HTML, CSS.
Oh here. Oh yeah, you have to upgrade. But look, it's showing you. See, there's the code just sitting there underneath there for us to mess around with, though. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. But what I wanted to say, though, is if we're looking at this, and I'm closing this up here.
Do you know if this is a reliable site? Because I know people say don't use Dreamweaver for that purpose.
So format, when I last looked at this and taught this and looked through it, it generated pretty decent code, and we're going to look at it in a second, actually. Obviously, if you're really skilled at hand coding, you're going to do better than anything a machine generates. Just the way it is. Like, Jenny is a coding machine. She's really, really good at it. And she even knows how to tell machines to generate things dynamically in really good ways. But it takes a lot of time to do that, right? And so they're doing reasonably good, probably. I just want to close this up here.
And probably even more important than how clean the code is the metadata on the page. So the description of the page, the title, but also data associated with the images. So you can build in data that doesn't necessarily show up on the page, but that...
Like the alt?
What's that?
Like the alt tag?
Yeah, alt tags. And there's also other attributes and tags that you can use to describe images, not only for screen readers, which is not necessarily super useful in a portfolio site, but also for robots. So Google's robots that crawl your site and just collect information from them. The better the information underlying that even you can't see on the pages, the better the results will be. The better they'll be able to use that data not only in your search results, but in, say, Google Images. So somebody searches for something, if you have a really descriptive text associated with it, it could show up in Google Images.
So I have a question. Is it possible to make a portfolio here and then put that onto another site?
So something I heard, and you mentioned this too, this idea of like, a self-contained, everything's contained site. And I'm going to say, and I too was like, when I first approached design,